Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni Viewer, and I'm here to do another round of rumor control for some upcoming kaiju movies. In addition to the plot synopsis revealed for Pacific Rim Uprising, we also got some very quick images of what appear to be kaiju for the upcoming film. Two of the images show clearly recognizable Pacific Rim kaiju varieties. But there's one in particular that's really got people talking. That would of course be this image. There are lots of people looking at this and thinking it looks an awful lot like Legendary's Godzilla. And no doubt this will re-spark the rumor that's been circulating for years now. The rumor which says that Pacific Rim will eventually become part of the MonsterVerse. It's not like this rumor is unsubstantiated, mind you. The idea of crossing over Godzilla with Pacific Rim was being floated around by the actual people who worked on those movies in the wake of Godzilla 2014's release. Of course, no word has come up since then, but plenty of people all over the internet have been keeping the dream alive. And I have no doubt those people are seeing this image as confirmation. Well everyone, I don't really like being the wet blanket, but I've been meaning to say this for a while anyway, and I guess this is my opportunity before things get out of hand. So, here is the fact. The odds of the MonsterVerse and Pacific Rim ever crossing over are slim at best. Now yes, both franchises are being produced by Legendary, but that doesn't really matter in this case. I guess people have either forgotten or didn't know it happened in the first place, but here's what's been going on behind the scenes since 2014. After Godzilla was released, Legendary parted ways with Warner Brothers and signed on with Universal. Since then, they've been responsible for reinvigorating the Jurassic Park franchise, and they produced The Great Wall. Now, not long after signing on with Universal, Kong Skull Island was announced. And not long after Kong Skull Island was announced, we learned that it would be brought back over to Warner Brothers and cross over with Godzilla to form what we now call the MonsterVerse. I already did a whole separate video on how Legendary was able to get away with bringing a Universal monster over to Warner Brothers. It's basically because Kong is kinda sorta in the public domain, but not really. It's complicated. Go watch the other video. I provided links just about everywhere. The main point I'm making now, though, is that Kong was brought over to Warner Brothers, but Pacific Rim Uprising stayed at Universal. I can't help but feel that if it was supposed to be part of the MonsterVerse too, Uprising and Kong would have been a package deal. I'm sorry folks, but I just don't see it happening. Now, I'm sure there are those among you who might suggest that Warner Brothers and Universal could work out some sort of deal similar to what Marvel Studios did with Universal for the Hulk, or with Sony for Spider-Man, allowing for those characters to still potentially be produced at those studios, but able to exist within the greater shared universe. Alright, I will concede that it's possible, but it's not probable. Thing is, the last time we heard about any interaction between Warner Brothers and Universal, the former was actually suing the latter for using the term Dark Universe, which was one of several titles Warner Brothers was floating around for a potential Justice League Dark movie. Whether or not the WB actually has a case, they're still trying to sue Universal, which means there's bad blood between the two studios. So I highly doubt there's any desire between the two to share at this point. Really, the only way I could see any elements from Pacific Rim entering the MonsterVerse would be if Warner Brothers found a loophole which allowed them to use only those elements which appeared in the first movie, which in essence would require them to completely rewrite the origins. But then again, who knows how many of the assets they actually hold claim to. So as for this image, I don't think it's Godzilla. Something that might be physically inspired by Godzilla, sure, but not the actual Godzilla. Now again, it's possible that I might be wrong. Maybe this will turn out to be Godzilla, and it'll be the shocking last image of the trailer that'll have me sitting here eating crow. And maybe I'll regurgitate an octopus and have it live under my fedora. My point is, at this stage, the likelihood of the MonsterVerse and Pacific Rim ever crossing over is nil. A large part of that will depend on how the sequel itself does. If it does turn out to be just a retread of the first movie, as I'm starting to grow concerned it might be, that will be a clear indicator of how much steam Pacific Rim has as a franchise. Honestly though, I'm content to let them be separate things. So if you see any other videos out there saying that Godzilla vs. Pacific Rim is somehow going to happen, take it with a grain of salt. In fact, take it with a teaspoon of salt. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer, signing off.